everyone. This is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Introduction to Microeconomics at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is go over a demonstration of how to calculate the total cost, total revenue, profit, and also find the loss minimization point for this example problem that I've got here that's going to be very similar to problem 11.1 that you're doing on page 229 in your textbook. Okay, so you'll notice on that problem 11.1 it gives you a table that includes output levels, price, it gives you the fixed cost, and it gives you the variable cost. And then it wants us to calculate total cost, total revenue, profit loss, and then figure out whether the firm should shut down in the short run to minimize loss, or to continue to produce. Is there a level of production at which we can produce at a loss lower than what we would lose by losing our fixed cost if we produce nothing? Okay. All right. So what I've done here is I've created some kind of sample numbers here. These are not the numbers that you'll be working on your problem for your assignment. These are very similar though, and this is designed to kind of help you to understand how to make the calculations that you need to complete the problem on your assignment. All right, so I've got levels of output here from 0 through 5 in the table. I've got the prices for each level of output, and you'll notice the price goes down as we produce more. That's because we face that downward sloping demand curve, because we do have some pricing power in the market. All right, and then it gives us the fixed cost. Now, it gives us in the book, in the one that you're actually going to be working through part of your assignment, it gives you the fixed costs for the very first row of the table. But you know by the definition of fixed cost that fixed cost does not change with the level of production. So it's going to be very simple for you to complete the fixed cost column of the table, because it's going to be the same value all the way down throughout the table. Now, in my case, in my example, I have specified $100 as the fixed cost at a production level of 0. That means that my fixed cost is $100, so that's going to be the same all the way through all levels of production. And so that's why I included $100 all the way throughout all the rows of the table there under the fixed cost column. Now, it gives us the variable cost. So I just kind of made up these numbers for the variable cost for this example. Now, the first calculation it wants us to complete is total cost. And we've done this many times before. It's very simple. It's just your fixed cost plus your variable cost. So in the case of 0 rate of output, the very first row, it would be basically your total cost is going to be whatever your fixed cost is. Because obviously when we're not producing yet, we don't have a variable cost. We're not actually using resources to produce yet. So our variable cost is 0. So to calculate total cost is just your fixed cost of $100 plus your variable cost of $0, which would be a value of $100 total cost. Now, you do that the same way all the way down. It's just your fixed cost column plus your variable cost column all the way down through all the levels of output. Now, once you calculate total cost, the next thing it wants us to calculate is total revenue. This is also very simple. We've done this many times before. It's just the rate of output multiplied by the price. So obviously if we're producing nothing, which is what we're doing at that first part of the table, the first row, 0 rate of output times the $60 price gives us a value of total revenue value of $0. Then on the second row, it's going to be your 1 rate of output times the price, which is $55. So our total revenue is $55. So you do that all the way down. It's just your product price or your output it's just your output times your price. So basically you're multiplying these first two columns together as you go down through the table. Okay, so just output times price. Now, once we've calculated total revenue, it also wants us to calculate profit and loss, or profit loss. Now, profit or loss is just basically calculated by taking total revenue minus total cost. Of course, if your total revenue is greater than your total cost, you're going to have a profit. If it's the other way around, if your total cost is greater than your total revenue, then obviously you're going to have a loss. Okay, so for that first row of the table, our revenue is 0. Our cost is $100 because that's what our fixed cost is. So our loss at a rate of 0 units is negative $100. So that's basically our profit is minus $100. So that's a loss of $100. And then you do the same thing all the way down. It's just your total revenue minus your total cost. So for that second column, for one rate of output, it would be $55 total revenue minus $150 total cost, which is a loss of $95. Okay. Now, you'll notice throughout all units of output, in our particular case that we're looking at, our example, we have a loss at all units of production. Okay. Now, you might look at that and say, well, we shouldn't produce anything because we're going to lose money at all rates of production. But you have to remember, in the short run, which is what we're looking at here, we have fixed costs. We have a cost that we have to incur no matter how much we produce. Even if we produce nothing, our fixed cost in this example is $100. So we're going to lose $100 no matter what we do. Okay, as far as if we choose not to produce in the short run, we're going to lose $100. So what we need to do is find and look at our profit loss column and see if there's a profit or loss, in this case a loss, that is less than the loss that we would have if we shut down temporarily in the short run and produce nothing. In this case, there is a lower loss available. There are actually several, and the lowest of those is at an output rate of 3 units. Okay, at a rate of 3 units of production, our loss is $85, which is less than our loss if we temporarily shut down in the short run. So our best bet, our best case scenario in this case, which is basically our loss minimization point, since we know we're going to lose money at all levels of production, we want to find the level of production where we're going to lose the least amount of money. In this case, it is 3 units of production here, and I've got it highlighted here on this second slide. So at that rate of output, at 3 units of output, that's where we're going to minimize our loss. Okay, so the firm should continue to produce at a level of 3 units of production. Okay, because that loss of $85 is less than what our loss would be if we shut down in the short run, because our loss if we shut down is that fixed cost that we have, which is $100. So we would lose $100 if we shut down. We only lose $85 if we produce 3 units of production there. Okay. Now, something else that we have to kind of look at, something it's going to ask you about on this particular problem on your assignment, is it's going to ask you to explain the relationship between marginal revenue and marginal cost as we move through the different levels of production. Okay. And in this particular example, the marginal revenue is decreasing while marginal cost is decreasing at first and then increasing. Remember that law of diminishing marginal return. So at first, our marginal cost will decline as we are experiencing the increasing marginal returns from our resources. But then at some point, our marginal values, our marginal returns are going to decrease as we increase more units of production. Okay, so hopefully this will help you to kind of get you on the right track for completing that problem 11.1 in your textbook for your assignment. If you have questions as you're working through it, just let me know. But this should help you to get you on the right track for this. So, like I said, just let me know, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you.